Okay, this is the second video for the notes for lecture number 3. So we'll skip right to page 4. Systems thinking in the news, and this is a discussion about whether or not there's going to be coffee in the future. And there's some important points here, right? We have domestic crops of coffee with limited genetic diversity. We need a hybridization stock. It is threatened. Get rid of that. And, yipes. Declines of 100%. That's dangerous. And then we have this situation where we have extreme weather, drought, changes to flowering cycle, changes to fauna, so on and so forth. So we can look at this as a single stock model with 2 feedback loops, and away we go. Now, the stock in question in this example is, for want of a better word, coffee varieties, coffee DNA, get rid of that. Just do a little scribble there. Coffee varieties. We have our wild beans, wild Arabica beans out in the wild, right? And we can do some things with them. We can take them to the lab, breed them, hybridize them, find out which ones are drought resistant, which ones hold up well under rain, and different things like that. So we have the science and development process here, increasing the coffee varieties. But at the same time, we have a balancing loop over here that's removing coffee varieties. And this is happening through the things mentioned above. Weather, drought, soil erosion, degradation, birds not eating at different flowering times, all these kinds of things. And this is having the effect of wiping out coffee varieties. Now eventually, right, it may be the case that suitable locations might decline nearly 100%. That's pretty bad. My goodness. So we have the coffee varieties here is sort of our condition. We have the balancing loop slowing down all of these things, and on the growing side we have Starbucks scientists and so on working at increasing coffee varieties. So that's another way of looking at this particular problem. Another example I gave in the news, I talked about the newsboy problem. Went through all of that, and we talked about Furby toys, and we had some questions. An increase in the number of kids with Furby toys is going to increase the popularity of Furby toys. Okay, that leads to the next point. An increase in the popularity of Furby toys is therefore going to increase the rate at which kids buy Furby toys. And an increase in that rate is going to compound the number of kids with Furby toys. And based on all of those things, we can safely say that this is a reinforcing feedback loop. So again, Furbies come from, some Furby factory somewhere. Our stock in this case is kids with Furbies. Or maybe that should be Furbies IES. My apologies for the double I. Anyways, kids with Furbies. And we have this, the rate of buying here. So the number of kids with Furbies is going to be a reinforcing loop, increases the rate of buying. More kids with Furbies increases the rate, and so on and so forth. This is our popularity of Furbies. Just going to put a letter F for Furbies. So popularity of Furbies. Kids with Furbies increases the popularity, and so it goes. This little node over here, an information node, one thing that's not talked about here, but you could add it into your model, is number of days till Christmas, right? If this is a long time before Christmas, it's going to have less of an impact on the rate than if this is a very short number of days until Christmas. Oh my goodness, 2 more days till Christmas. We have to get our Furby and get it right away, so it's going to increase the rate. Likewise, after Christmas, this might be a moot point. Nobody wants to get a Furby doll on December 27th. So there you go. There's an example of Furbies and systems thinking about Furbies. Another example we did was looking at Axe. Can a commercial be too sexy for its own good? In the beginning, Axe, deodorant and body spray and so on came up with research to reveal the ultimate male fantasy to be irresistible to a number of sexy women all at once. And again, all of this information is in the Atlantic article, which I encourage you to read. The story goes on. The campaign's an instant hit. Axe becomes number 1 male brand, makes $71 million, makes $186 million the next year. I mean, this is a complete, exponential kind of curve. But the backlash happens, right? Geeks and dorks everywhere are now buying Axe by the caseload. And Axe's image is essentially the brand for pathetic losers. Increasingly, sales take a huge hit. So again, we can use systems thinking to look at this problem. Boys wearing Axe, boys with Axe, that would be our stock. And we have this reinforcing loop here at the beginning. We have some great advertising. We have word of mouth. Right? All this stuff happening. Then it becomes associated with dorks, and we have this balancing situation, which slows down the flow, reduces the number of boys with Axe, slows down the flow, and away we go. I'm not sure where Axe is in the marketplace right now, but it was an interesting story from the Atlantic. There we go. And we closed off the lecture by looking at some key system ideas. Resilience. Resilience. Now, there we go. You can read it there. Self-organization and hierarchy. So that's it. Those are the notes for lecture number 3 in a nutshell.